mentioned intimidation. Maybe I don't know whether you will talk a little bit about that.
No, the intimidation can only go to the extent of how you allow them. First of all, one of the challenge we have had in this parliament is the fact that you want to associate very much with government. You want to work with government, you want to do tenders. All these things are the ones that make members of parliament not to do independent decisions. So if you are been given a chance to be a leader, you need to choose whether to first enrich yourself or the other way around. And any other thing that comes across, for example, not being called for meetings in government. Of course, me, the last time I was in Statehouse is that Kitambo.
Thank you for mentioning that, because we also wanted you to maybe clear this.
Yeah.
There has been rumors out there that you, for lack of a better word, have been quote-unquote banned from Statehouse.
Well, I have never received a letter saying that I've been banned from Statehouse. But the fact of the matter is, when meetings that are around government matters are being done, I don't get invitations.
Hello and welcome. This is SPM Buzz. We are right here with Sauti TV and E-Africa TV. And with us is Honorable Gitonga Mukunji, Member of Parliament for Manyata constituency. Happy New Year, Mheshimiwa.
Happy New Year, Sheiks.
Uko salama?
Mimi niko fiti kabisa. Kujituma tu.
Na ndio form.
Form ni kujituma. Yeah.
So right now, of course, you're back from recess. Sijui imekuwa vipi?
Yes, so we are back from recess. Tumeanza bunge, of course, with a little bit of interesting changes in the court ruling. Lakini we have had a very long recess kutoka last year, November. Now, of course, kwa mbunge, it's never really a recess. It's still work because uko mashinani, unafanya plans zako za mijengo, kufanya maneno ya bursaries, kutayarisha mashure. Saa hii tuko na maneno ya grade 9. Ile inaitwa JSS. There is a lot of work ongoing. Yes, and akunanga recess, literally. A member of parliament works 24 hours. Yes.
Talking about kwenye ground, of course, yesterday we saw a new report from Infotrack.
Yes.
I don't know what you have to say about the holding. I'm very sure you've seen the whole report.
I've seen Infotrack, and I have a very funny history with Infotrack. Interestingly, wakati I was winning my seat with even 95% of the votes, Infotrack ilikuwa imesema niko chini. So these polls are just normal cases of mpango. And ile michezo ya town. Now, of course, the interesting part is also how do you gauge members of parliament? First of all, you gauge members of parliament through representation. How they are contributing to the National Assembly and how vocal they are on matters. And also how they are doing to their people. What are they working on their people? And it is very diverse. Because first of all, is if you are to look at the track record of contributions in the House, the relevance of contribution, how hardworking somebody is on bringing matters in the National Assembly, the report from Infotrack, it will be trash, completely trash. If you look at matters to do with popularity, you gauge popularity in terms of the most popular nationally or the most popular from where he has been elected. Those are major questions. Ukienda uliza watu ya Embu, watakwambia Mukunji anafaa kuwa number 1. Lakini ukiuliza watu ya Nairobi maneno ya Embu, watakwambia something very different. So these are normal things, but of course it is a matter of them trying to be relevant. But if there is anything about the best member of parliament who is the most hardworking, it should be something that should be factual in terms of contributions. Mzalendo did something last year. It ranked members of parliament through their contribution in the House. And especially now that I'm the chairman of young members of parliament, many young members of parliament have done extremely well. And they ranked, especially in terms of bills. Umeleta bills ngapi kwa bunge? And how impactful are your bills? Umeleta motions ngapi kwa bunge? And how impactful they are? Na ukipanga hiyo maneno, whatever Infotrack is trying to tell us is total trash. So I believe there should be more seriousness when it comes to ranking on performance. Because ukienda Embu, you see what we are doing on improving education. You see what we are doing with empowerment of young people through bringing them together in circles, bringing them together with the CBOs, and trying to ensure that they get a chance to do the work, even from our own projects in the constituency. My friend, you cannot rank me anything below 1. You know? Yeah.
So, if you were to gauge yourself today, putting aside the Infotrack report, unajipea percentage ya ngapi?
It will be unfair, Sheiks. It will be totally unfair for me to rank myself. Itakuwa mbaya. I mean,
so we'll leave that to the people.
Wananchi, kwanza hii tu nataka uweke useme, watu ya Embu, nataka mgauge mbunge yenu. Then watakwambia. Na utashtuka. Itakuwa 100 kwa 100.
All right, now let's talk about something that happened before you guys came back, maybe when the whole parliament was on recess. The other day we saw the president was in the northern region. And on this whole thing of identification, the vetting and everything, we have not yet heard your voice in it, because the president thinks vetting should be done now, especially on the communities that are in such areas.
Well, let me first say that ID by the fact that you're a Kenyan is a human right thing. I mean, hauwezi kuwa wewe ni Mkenya na hauna ID. But nikisikia watu wakiongea maneno ya vetting, I feel like we are losing the point. Any Kenyan do not require to be vetted to become a Kenyan, because you are Kenyan by birth. But the real issue, Sheiks, na hapa ndio watu nataka waangalie vizuri. The real issue is us charging pesa, almost 1,000 Kenyan shillings for somebody to get an ID. That is where the issue is. And that is where we are actually failing as a country. First of all, we are not supposed to charge anybody to get an identity card that is required in everything you do in this country. And this one is going to make many young people. And you know, the fact of the matter is over 40% of Kenyan, according to statistics, live below the poverty line. So they live below $1 a day. Then you tell that someone to get 1,000 Kenyan shillings for his son who needs to go maybe to a TVET or to another institution to get an identity card. That is where the problem is, and I don't feel like the president is really well advised to talk about vetting when he is not addressing the issue of charging money to get an identity card.
Allow me to talk a little bit about the same thing.
Yes.
Probably 3 weeks ago, we were with the PS migration, and a question was raised concerning the same. And according to him, the 1,000 bob is because of the new IDs that Kenyans are getting. They're calling it that generation or what? Something like that ID. They say that chip is the whole thing and the reason why.
I agree with the introduction of technology for better identification and everything. But at whatever cost, this country is not a broke country. We have money to do all these manner of things, to buy MPs, to buy senators, and do all manner of things with resources that are supposed to be helping our people. Then we charge them to be citizens of Kenya. No, I disagree with our priorities. We need to make identity cards free. Whatever technology is put in those identity cards should not cost the Kenyan anything. And as a matter of fact, if we are putting technology in those identity cards, we want people to be well identified with the chips. The fact of the matter is Kenya can be able to fund and be able to pay from its taxpayers' money for somebody who has not earned a bob in his life because he doesn't have an identity card. He is either going to school or finishing school to actually get an ID for free. And that is something that I'm going to fight for because that is discriminatory and it is unfair. We will soon start charging for voters' card then. So that if you want to vote, you pay money. That is the direction we are going. We need to stop charging for identity cards. And it is not fair to even charge young people.
I had a question on something that you've mentioned. Since you're a member of parliament, you have seen this issue. So there are plans to table such concern on the floor of the parliament.
I will actually say that even the introduction of payment identity cards was illegally done. It is illegal to charge. It is against the constitution of this country. We are going to review it. I'm going to be very vocal. I'll muscle my young members of parliament to ensure that identity cards are free. Maneno ya vetting, whoever is supposed to be vet is neither here nor there. But let's make identity cards free because that is most key for our young people in this country. Yes.
Talking about
Okay, there have been speculations that the 2027 elections will be rigged through registration of aliens. I don't know how credible do you think maybe these claims are?
Well, anybody who is preparing to rig 2027 elections is already lost. I mean, if you want to start rigging right now, it means you have already lost elections. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. But the fact of the matter is we are keen. We are very, very keen. No monkey games can be played in this country. Anybody who wants to take this country to the dogs can dare do any stupid thing when it comes to matters elections. This country where it is right now, and it has grown from the post-election violence of 2007. The fact of the matter is elections must be very credible, transparent, and anybody must have a fair chance to execute his right to participate in elections. And that is why we are starting with this matter of making identity cards free for our young people who have not earned a shilling in their life.
Now, maybe moving on to another question. Of course, we had the first House session yesterday, and the whole issue that the country was waiting for is about a court ruling that was done before, the issue of the majority and the minority in the House. We saw Junet Mohammed and the whole team leave the House because the parliament said the majority remains to be Kimani Ichung'wah and the whole crew.
Well, let me say this on the court ruling. Yeah. Number one, it also challenges us as members of parliament, and especially the speaker. We have passed a number of bills and laws that have been challenged in court, and amount of resources that have been used in court processes has become extraneous. First of all, it is a wake-up call to Speaker Wetangula. We cannot be having everything that is passed in that house being challenged in court. It means we are doing something that is illegal. And the courts are not wrong in their challenges. But that aside, let me say, hii maneno ya majority na minority leader, it's a fallacy. In Kenya, we only have a majority leader and majority leader too. We don't have a minority in this house. I don't know where Bunge became part of the executive, that everybody became aligned to the executive. And this is the problem that we have to face as Kenyans, that we don't have an opposition. And this is the thing. Maybe the president thought by doing the broad-based government, he has decided everybody now is in government and there is no opposition. Then to his shock, he found Kenyans are the ones that are saying no to wrong policies. And let me say this, it is after the broad-based government that I first heard the president complain that Kenyans are becoming, are saying no to everything. So maybe it is the high point he releases the opposition to go back to their work so that he can at least deal with them. But Kenyans are more difficult. So, number one, we don't have a minority side and a majority side in the House. We are supposed to have, because that is how the Constitution is made, and that is how our standing orders talk about the people who have formed government and the people who are on the opposite side. But the fact of the matter is, myself, I will continue calling out government even when I am elected with the government party.
A discussion that we will be, just a minute. You mentioned that there is no majority and minority. According to you, there is majority 1 and majority 2.
Yes.
The big question is how about what impact will it cause whatever we saw yesterday, Junet Mohammed and the whole team walking out of the house?
So that is majority 2 wanting to be majority 1. So he wanted to be majority 1, but now Wetangula ruled differently. He just wanted to come from majority 2 to majority 1. So we'll wait there. Afro Cinema continues shortly.
Okay, now to touch on that, you say that you were elected under the government party.
Yes.
What happened? Did someone step on the other's foot, or are you guys still working together? What is
Well, my problems with the government and the president started when I voted no to the finance bill. And the fact of the matter is, I don't believe it's right to say that the decisions that we make in the House must always align with the party. I disagree with him totally, because at some point you have also to remember that you are elected by the people. And the problem is, if you say everything that is coming to the floor, even that is against your people, you have to say yes. Mimi, I would rather be judged harshly. Mimi nitasimama na wananchi wangu. Mia kwa mia.
So this has, allow me to ask this question. How has this maybe strengthened or weakened your political stand, especially on your constituency in the Embu County at large?
No. You know, Embu now, they are calling it the center of Mlima Kenya. But the fact of the matter is, I said no to the finance bill. Of course, it was not an easy decision, because it was the first time that I went against the party stand. And I did that simply because I had listened, keenly listened to the people. And I even did like what we call online public participation to see if there is anybody who is telling me this bill is good. But it was very clear, loud and clear, that that bill was a no-no to the people. But that one, now, of course, on the government side, they were not happy. And the reactions, of course, is just the normal, usual reactions of intimidation. And the fact of the matter is, when you stand with your conscience, you can never go wrong. You are always more powerful. And people have always been with me because of standing with what they say. When it comes to impeachment of the deputy president, the people of Embu are also very categorical on it, that no, the impeachment is not right. There are no good grounds to impeach the deputy president. And I had to affirm that and stand with my people on the same. When it came to the issue of Billy Mwangi, yes, I'm in government, but I cannot close my eyes and say it is normal for a young person to disappear, and then because you're in government, you keep quiet, you wait until things go bad. So what do? You have to lead in front. So I led demonstrations in Embu that made sure that that young person and those others walipatikana wakiwa hai. And we know when you're abducted, anything can happen. So anybody who I step on, I will tell them to forgive me, but I'll continue fighting for my people and for the young people of this country.
You've mentioned intimidation. Maybe I don't know whether you will talk a little bit about that.
No, the intimidation can only go to the extent of how you allow them. First of all, one of the challenges we have had in this parliament is the fact that you want to associate very much with government. You want to work with government. You want to do tenders. All these things are the ones that make members of parliament not to do independent decisions. So if you are been given a chance to be a leader, you need to choose whether to first enrich yourself or the other way around. And any other thing that comes across, you know, for example, not being called for meetings in government. Of course, me, the last time I was in Statehouse is that Kitambo.
Thank you for mentioning that, because we also wanted you to maybe clear this.
Yeah.
There has been rumors out there
Yeah.
that you, for lack of a better word, have been quote-unquote banned from Statehouse.
Well, I have never received a letter saying that I've been banned from Statehouse.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, when meetings that are around government matters are being done, I don't get invitations, which I'm okay with, because I know if you are wise enough, things such as budget are done in the National Assembly. Yeah. And that is where resources are shared. This time round will be very strict, because even members of parliament that are in government don't get resources in their constituencies, because the few people who are just leading us are the ones that benefit in everything. But I will say that the cake, and as per the constitution of this country, and also as per the will of the people, it is parliament that is supposed to share resources of this country, not Statehouse. What about the opposition parties? They will get nothing if that is the case. And we are going to push to ensure every part of this country gets its fair share of resources. Nobody should be discriminated because he has a different opinion. Because you lead people. So you, as a person, might not even get the heart of not getting resources, but the people on the ground who would also like to participate in the elections. And it's good to know anybody who wants to lead this country must lead this country fairly, without discrimination.
Is there that fear, maybe, especially among members of parliament that are against the government or in support of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua? Is there that fear of unfair allocation of resources to their constituency?
The fact of the matter is, unless we give unnecessary power to the presidency, matters to do with sharing of resources is in the National Assembly. And there is no part of this country, including the reason why we have devolved functions, that should not get resources that it deserves. And I mean, we are talking about Kibaki as a president, and I've heard even the president and the deputy president speak about Kibaki. You know, as a person that was able to change this country. Free primary education in Kibaki's time did not look at the boundaries of where he was elected. He introduced free primary education all over Kenya, from Mandera to Coast to the Mlima. Anybody who comes with an opinion that it is our time to eat because we have the government is ill-advised. And I don't stand to support that as a young leader, and actually as a person who would like at one day to get a chance to even lead this country. Yes. Yeah.
Talking about young leaders, there has been this big question about the youths and maybe women, especially focusing on the 2027, because it looks like already, first of all, let's get from you. Do you think the campaigns are already here?
Well, let me say the president is fully to blame for the political situation in this country. We have had a lot of political talk because of the impeachment that came in, the issues of also him being on top of vehicles all the time. And that reason makes the political temperatures of the country to be always high. And I'm looking forward to a point where Kenyans will be told to relax and see government work. But it can't work when things are also not going right. I mean, if we look at policies such as SHA, now we are in our 7th month. And we still have a lot of complaints about SHA. Today I was handling a matter of a chief, and he started by telling me, mheshimiwa, mimi ndio nimekuwa nikiuza SHA huku mashinani, lakini imenitenda. Nimepeleka bibi yangu hospitali, nimeambiwa nitalipiwa 50,000 na anahitaji 800,000. Nikamwambia sasa unataka aje? Panga harambee. You know, we are still talking and not doing anything that is supposed to be rightly done. I actually have advised the president many times to revert back to NHIF. He is collecting more from people right now. I mean, I used to pay around 1,000 and something for NHIF in my salary. Right now I'm paying 27,000. I don't understand even why. I saw the minister saying that they are not receiving enough money for shift from SHA. It is illogical, by the way. They are collecting more. Where is the money getting lost in?
According to them, it's probably because not a lot of Kenyans have registered for the SHA.
No, they said 20 million Kenyans have registered. From them, they said more people have registered than what was in NHIF. Those contradictions are the ones that are making the government not to have a good name. They are contradicting themselves too much. From when I heard the minister speak, she was saying 20 million people have been registered, more than what has been, what was registered previously in NHIF. So I don't understand why the collections are less. It doesn't make sense. I mean, unless you tell me kuna watu hutoa bottle tops kuliko kutoa pesa. And that doesn't make sense. Yes.
So probably to add on probably maybe the seemingly campaign that has already started from President Ruto, what does this indicate according to you? Do you think maybe he feels insecure about it regarding the election, or what do you think the political strategy maybe could be?
Well, let me say, with these decisions that the government has made, the unpopularity on the ground is well known and perceived in Kenya by Kenyans. I mean, the issues of abduction without any report whatsoever from even the security apparatus, the threats, the issues of policies such as SHA. These are matters that have made Kenyans not be very comfortable with the current the impeachment of the deputy president. These are matters that have made the government not to be very popular with the people. And maybe the reason, I would understand when somebody says, let me start early, maybe I have a longer way to go. So that, you know, when you know you have a bigger land to till, you start tilling early in the morning. So maybe the president knows that. And I just say that, of course, elections are in 2027. We still don't have a working IEBC. I'm looking forward, as per what the selection panel has said, is by May they will have everything in place so that we can start voters registration. And those are things that are going to actually take time. Any campaign you do right now, it's null and void. I mean, it's null and void, literally, because even if you meet somebody today and tell them mtanichagua 2027, 2027 you got 2-3 years away. So I believe it is upon us leaders to focus on development first and what the people elected us to do. And I believe we have work to do before 2027. But the fact of the matter is, of course, there is panic on some people's side. There is panic, and the panic is very visible. Yes.
In your own words, talking about unpopularity kwa ground, do you think the president has a chance to undo that and redeem himself together with the whole team?
I will just say he has to change a number of things. One of them, he should stop threatening Kenyans. Don't threaten the young people. Don't intimidate them. Don't abduct them. The second thing is he need to stop these people who are talking trash around him. When I see a member of parliament calling Kenya wapumbavu, when I see even him saying, wewe, you don't have a PhD to address me, I believe it is not the same president that we were campaigning for in 2022 with the hustler tag being the lead. And the many people who, I mean, we have less than, I don't know, 1,000, maybe, I would say we don't have more than 10,000 PhDs in this country. I believe I would be right to say that. So there are a number of things to change. What I don't know is whether he can, and I can't answer that for him. Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Something you mentioned about intimidation of the youth. So we've seen how massively vocal
Yeah.
the Gen Zs,
Yeah.
let me put it that way, have been. So how significant do you think the young voters will be shaping in the 2027 election campaign?
Well, you cannot ignore the young people. And I will say this without a doubt, even the 2022 election, the young people carried the day in this. Many young people elected William Ruto as the president, vis-a-vis the old age. The fact of the matter is, if you ignore them, you are ignoring them at your own peril. And a very woke generation of young people. What we saw last year, what we face on the ground, even as young leaders today, what we face as leaders on the ground today are people who know what they need and what they want. I was a little bit disappointed because I remember the speech after the maandamanos, after the Bunge fiasco, the speech the president gave, giving Kenyans, the Gen Z, an assurance. Number one, to fight corruption. Number two, to reduce on the spending spending in government. And number three, cracking down on issues of corruption and debt. All these things now, they have become, like they never existed. We have to continue pushing for this. The president gave a speech that made even the young people that were very vicious to calm down. But the fact of the matter is, those things have not yet been addressed even up to date. The spending is still ongoing. We are hearing choppers and everything here and there. We are still borrowing. I mean, it's obvious we are still borrowing. We have not yet even handled the issue of joblessness of the young people. I mean, I wouldn't understand why the biggest policy that would come from government today is the policy of saying we should export Kenyans. It is not right that the most vocal thing about handling issue of joblessness for our young people is taking people to Saudi and to other places to work for them. I mean, brain drain. We need to ensure we take back and bring the issue of local solutions and not exporting our problems to other places. And I believe that is what we need to work on. Yes.
Now, allow me to talk about the Mount Kenya region a little bit. Now, in 2022 elections, close to half of President Ruto's and Rigathis votes came from Mount Kenya, I believe, close to 3.2, 3.5 million. Right now, we cannot ignore the fact that this discussion has been there, especially on ground. Will the president be able to clinch the Mount Kenya region come 2027? Has the impeachment of former DP Rigathi Gachagua will it affect the 2027, his 2027 campaigns?
Well, I don't know. I really avoid the talk around Mount Kenya region, this and other region. But now that you have asked a question, first of all, I want to say that there are a number of things that have happened that have made the people in Mount Kenya region to feel not very happy with the current regime led by Ruto. Number one, the impeachment was not handled in a way that Rigathi Gachagua came from a place. And there was no clear explanation on why that happened. And let me say that not only that, even before people had already started being disgruntled by the government. It did not start with impeachment. Even previously, before, there were issues that people were not feeling very happy about. Number one, many young people come from the Mount Kenya region, without a doubt. Many business people, and of course the business spirit around the Wagikoyos and others is also very vibrant on that. When the issue of additional taxes came in, it affected those people the most. So there was a lot of problems on that. The issue of petrol and diesel getting too expensive was affecting those people the most. But it is a fallacy to say that the issue being discussed on one region don't affect another region. I travel very well, and I travel a lot in this country. I have been to Kisumu, I have been to Kericho, I have been to Kakamega, I have been to Nyamira, I have been to Kisii. The conversation around the matters that are affecting our people is the same. Nobody is happy. I have not found somebody clapping for SHA in one region because they are saying they align themselves with the government. No. The things that are going to call out the campaigns of 2027 are matters that are affecting our people. The people who are paying housing levy, the people who are employed that are paying housing levy, those are people who are going to be in the voting in the ballot. Nobody could be happy when he's giving money and there's no tangible plans on how he can own that house. So the issues are the same everywhere in this country. Maybe in Mount Kenya there is a little bit of salt to the kidonda because of the Rigathi matters, and of course the fact that the shaping up of campaigns normally also become very, very vibrant when it gets to Mount Kenya region. Yes.
All right. Now, allow me to ask a question about yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to vie for the Embu gubernatorial seats come 2027, how aligned, how prepared would you say you are today?
Well, I told you this, Sheiks, and you have asked me this question now twice. I've realized it's a privilege to serve in any position, from MCA, MP, and governor and the rest. It's a big privilege. One thing I hope, and I always say every day, is I hope as a member of parliament, I do justice to this position to an extent where the other person that sits on it will know there was somebody who did justice to this position. And if God's will is there, my focus is not in the gubernatorial seat, is to become the president of this country in a few years. So by rising the ladder from where I come from today, because I'll tell you for a fact, I'm the least person people would have thought would be a member of parliament. I come from a very poor family. My father was a driver of a bus, a school bus, of a school called St. Ursula Boarding. And here I am now, the member of parliament of Manyata constituency. I am keenly looking at every step that I'm doing to improve the people's lives. And God willing, I will not only do in Embu, if I get a chance, but also the whole of Kenya. We transform this country for all of us to be fit. And you can rise quickly, you can rise slowly, depending on how people think you're doing. And we have many things to learn and be able to ensure our people are happy with what they do. One of the things is you have to be tough and strong. You have to be fearless for you to actually do anything for the people. And that is one thing that I've learned, and I'm doing it every day. Mimi, hata nikiuziwa uoga nasemanga hiyo pesa ya uoga sina. Siko. Economy ni mbaya sana, sina pesa ya kununua uoga.
All right. You have a question.
Sorry, now of that, just if you can touch on the seat that Honorable Raila Odinga is eyeing, no?
Yes.
The AU chairmanship. So, what do you think would be the political implications, if just in case he happens to lose that seat? And also, sorry, if he happens to win the seat, and also if he loses it, how do you think it's going to shape his political future in Kenya? Would Raila maybe depart from the Kenyan politics?
No, let me say that we are coming to another generation of leadership. And the fact of the matter is, I don't wish anybody bad when he is looking for something. I wish him well. But I was a little bit disappointed when I saw him trying to endorse a candidate for Nairobi governor when there is a person from his party who has been very loyal to him, who has been saying, my time is almost coming. So already you are giving people mixed reactions. I mean, I believe Raila has made a few mistakes currently in his political career. Number one, the fact that he was very happy during Maandamano, then all of a sudden he changes tune, was not very good to him. I don't know who was right and who was wrong, but the fact that he changed his tune like he has been bought was not okay for him. Now, him going to prayers for him to become the AUC chair, then trying to endorse a candidate for 2027 in the gubernatorial seat of Nairobi is also not very much statesmanship. And the fact of the matter is people have stopped listening to such people in a way in Kenya. Today I went to Kisumu the other day and people are talking of different language. You cannot fool people too much these days. You have to be very careful and align your language with the people before you say things, because as a leader you can find yourself alone, and that is something that many leaders will find will learn the hard way. Yeah, they will learn that the hard way. Yes.
You've mentioned about the Nairobi gubernatorial seat, and of course it's something that people have been talking about, because you've seen people say now, we thought you would endorse maybe someone from the party. Of course we know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Who has been there for the longest time,
Yes,
campaigning for Baba.
Yes.
Do you think it was quite fair now that it looks like there was a
Let
turn
alone Babu, we know. But also there is another one, the MP for Westlands, who has also come out clearly to say he is interested. So here they are in Baba's party, and then Baba says, we want Sakaja. He looks like he is eating from the plate. He's looking like he's benefiting from Nairobi taxpayers' money. It didn't look right. And I might be very young in politics to understand things that are right or wrong, but that one was not looking very well for Baba. And I even felt like never calling him Baba again. Yeah.
One last question from me. You are the chairperson of Young Parliamentarians. What do you think is the future of the youth in our country politically? Because we have seen, like she mentioned, the Gen Zs have been very vocal. You have seen a couple of them stand out, say it's now time for us to take the lead. What's the future like for the youth, especially now, politically come 2027?
Well, I would say this, that we have a long way to go as young people. I believe the moment there is a realization of the power of numbers by the young people, we will do a lot. We can put our own president, we can put our own lineup from top to bottom in any place, any location of this country. But of course, it has been, and it has always been, that youth are taken advantage of. But I am very optimistic for the crop of young people that are met this time round. They stand their ground. They can look at you like this, and you say nothing, or you say something, and they don't even care what you have said. So I'm very optimistic. All I can say is, young people, the moment the vote registration is given a start, we have to be ready. We have to come out in numbers. We have to mobilize, and we have to activate and ensure that we get good numbers. And let me say, I listen very keenly to the young people. I have held meetings with them. As a young parliamentarian, I've hosted debates, and I've hosted young leaders around the universities and all. But I want to tell you something. And this is an advice I want to give leaders, and especially the president. The young people of this country love this country too much that if you listen to them keenly, you know what to do to actually serve the people well. Because, I mean, let's even go back a little bit on that thing that was trending so much during maandamanos. It was a, 10 8-point thing. One, remove some nonsensical offices that are not making sense and they're taking our taxpayers' money. Two, carbon corruption and fire those people that are corrupt. Three, reduce the burden of government to our people. Make sure that we don't have 1,000,001 people in government. Reduce the number of ministers. I mean, that thing was brilliant. And I just wish the president took it seriously. Today we would be singing songs for him. We could have a Banjuka song and Anguka Nayo, yake peke yake. But, of course, political games are more important. I just wish that at some point we'll get a leader that is able to actually believe in the people of Kenya. I mean, when we talk about stop lying to the people, don't mention every road and say it is going to be tarmacked. And I want to say, without fear of any contradiction, if all roads in Kenya that the president has mentioned that are being tarmacked were tarmacked, this Kenya would be the Switzerland of today. But it's not even possible, so don't mention them when they are not being worked on. Just let people be. And ambia watu habari yenu, muko sawa, Bwana Yesu asifiwe, asante sana, Mungu awabariki. Uende zako. Si lazima uambie kuna barabara utajenga. It is not right when you lie to people and you say it again and again. Remember when the president came said we are going to have a stadium in Jukiri that is State of Arts. Then that thing stopped there. The roads are, I mean, let's not even get there because I'll get emotional and bang the table.
What I'm about to ask is, based on the history of people brushing shoulders and then getting back together at some point.
Yes.
So do you think there's room for reconciliation between the former Deputy President Gachagua and President Ruto?
I cannot speak for anybody, but let me say this. I have seen people who have retracted and gone back to government. I think Kenyans have developed hatred for somebody who cannot stand his ground. So unless you want to lose your position that Kenyans have given you, when there was a rumor that the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, had gone and has been given a part of government. Of course, he came and disputed it. But I want to tell you, the first time the former president came face to face with the people after he left office was when he came to Embu, my constituency, for the inauguration of our new bishop, Bishop Kimani. And we gave him a standing ovation. Tulimshangilia vizuri sana. Tulimupigia nduru na kelele. Even the president was like, hey, lazima nitafute huyu jamaa. When there was a handshake between the former president and the current president, If he dared come to Embu that time, wacha nisiseme ile angefanyiwa, lakini these days I'm very careful not to look like I'm very violent.
Yeah.
But angetritiwa vizuri. And it is because people have developed a disliking of somebody who is not strong on his grounds. Kama wewe ni mtu ya kurukaruka, Kenyans are not happy with you. So anybody, including the former deputy president, who is my friend, if he retracts back and goes now and does a handshake with the president, he will have lost the ground completely. So it is upon him to choose, but I don't think he can do that. I think even the previous interview he did, he said very well that Mlima imekata all links that they had with the president. Yes.
Talking about former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the other day he mentioned that come May this year, he'll already have a political party. What do you think about that? Do you think he has, because you have also seen the other side say that bado, numbers kwake bado. What do you think about this specific question about the political party?
No, well, let me say that we are waiting for the party. I'm very keenly waiting. My people are waiting for the party. He is loved in Embu, there is no doubt. His party will have a lot of influence in Embu, and that is the party of choice of the people of Embu. So we are waiting. I don't want to preempt because the information will come with the owner of the information. But May, we are here. It's just a few months. I mean, I had people pushing him a lot, especially people on the other side, trying to push him. Oh, you said you'll say sema sasa tuone. But the elections is in 2027. Even the ABC is not in place. It is ill-advised to start running around right now. Whereas, you know, you have a whole marathon of, 42 kilometers to start running. So, there's a saying in my place that says, mchele ni ya ndengu, we tulia bwana. Itaiva tu pole pole.
All right. You have another question?
I think one final one.
Yeah.
The country is currently economically sick. Like people feel so drained in terms of in how the economy is going. Like things are getting worse instead of getting better. So what role can MPs like you, young MPs, maybe play in ensuring that the political difference do not hinder economic progress?
I would say I'm one of the most disappointed people that we came in with a tag of hustlers, but we have not done a lot for hustlers. And I was with the CS for Treasury the other day, CS Mbadi, and I told him clearly, we are tired of hearing about macroeconomics. I mean, the shilling is stronger, sijui, the inflation rate is at its lowest. We Kenyans don't care about those things. Kenyans want to put food on their table, want to remain with something after a payslip has landed on their table and desk. Today, anybody with a payslip is trained, even when you're earning 100,000 Kenya shillings. You know, if you're earning 100,000 Kenya shillings, you take home is, I believe, less than 60,000 Kenya shillings, and it's not fair. So we need to start working for the common person who doesn't know about macroeconomics, who doesn't know about the shilling trading against the dollar. No. Who doesn't know about the central bank rate, lending rate? Those are things that brought us where we are. We criticize the government of Uhuru keenly because of speaking about those things without anything tangible on the ground. And what do? First of all, issues such as the Hustler Fund. Why do we have to reinvent the wheel? The Hustler Fund has lost close to 21 billion because it was something that is not entrepreneurial. You lend somebody 5 500 shillings, you will go drink, you will go do what and what. And then we start doing all these PRs of showing how a Hustler Fund is helping people against what is real and reality on the ground. Whereas established funds, such as Uwezo Fund, have been impacting young people, and clearly you can see. So I feel sad that we have lost track, and things such as starting businesses has become very difficult for young people. Today, if a young person is leaving the university and want to start some businesses of sort, he is faced with certifications all over, including our county governments. Today, if you want to put an M-Pesa and you have a computer there, my friend, you will pay close to 3 certificates in many of the places before you even get to the national government. So, and then you have to pay the income tax and all these other manners of tax. It is not right in this country. And I don't want to say I've lost hope on it, but the fact of the matter is we have run late. It is the first 2 years of a government that you work the most. Today, if you go to Embu and you hear Mukunji is not seen like he's working for the people, he has already lost the 2027 elections. Because 2 years, first 2 years, is when you get the ample time to work for your people. The next 2 years, already people have formed an opinion and a perception for you. So it's you to start now playing politics and PR to clear the name that you could have that is bad. Then the last year is politics. So the president is running out of time to stamp his ground when it comes to his developmental agenda. Yes.
All right, as we wind up, maybe, what are your plans for 2025?
Well, we have a lot of plans. Number one, as young parliamentarians, we have decided to be very keen on the budget making process. And we are going to ensure we rally our numbers to ensure that budget of this country is well distributed. And that is why every single constituency in Kenya is represented in this house. At the presidency level, there is no representation of every single corner of this country. But in Bunge, there is a representation of a member of parliament in every corner of this country, except a few places that their member of parliament have died or is not eligible. But the reason why we have decided to take that mantle is because we have realized some places are taking advantage of being leaders. I saw a constituency that I will not mention getting 2 billion Kenya shillings of Kera roads, 2 billion, whereas there's a constituency with just less than 5 million Kenya shillings. We have to look at that. We are going to push that. If there's a fight I'm ready to fight, is for fair distribution of resources of every constituency in Kenya. Even mine, let it get its fair share without any favor. I don't need any favor to get a fair share. I need somebody in Mandera to get fairly, somebody in Manyata to get fairly. And that is one thing that we are working on as young parliamentarians. Among other things, of building capacity and ensuring that we engage and put the youth voice in the National Assembly keenly. Because the Gen Z Maandamanos came in because there was no route to reach our leaders. There was no route to engage the young people. So we will have a lot of engagement. We are talking to support partners so that we can be able to involve the young people all over the country. And we have already started with the regional blocks of campuses, sitting down with them, understanding what they want worked on, and of course pushing bills that are aligned to the youth of our country. That is on the level of, me as a chairman, young parliamentarians. On the constituency side, as usual, we have a very elaborate plan. One for improving our schools. Our primary schools are very old, in their 60s. They were made in their 60s. We are having a renovation plan that will involve being tiled, good windows and new batis, so that a school can be as good as the academy next door, and our people cannot feel lesser to over lesser God when there are people also on the other side. We also have a plan that involves, we are calling it masomo bila stress. We are engaging our teachers for motivational purposes so that they can do their best to ensure that they give their best to the kids. We are engaging parents to ensure they participate in their education, in the education of their kids. And this masomo bila stress is going to its third year. We have made a lot of improvements, and we thank God. In another 2-3 years, in Manyata constituency, you will not find a school that looks like, already I don't have classes that are of, on trees, or, where they are out, I don't have classes without, I don't have schools without classes. But of course, we are facing the challenge of grade 9s and JSS classes. We are in progress of ensuring that we implement that. We have also a good program of electricity. We are close to 95%, a little remaining to ensure every single person in Manyata has electricity. We have a program that we are paying for insurance, health insurance for our old people. It had a hiccup because of SHA. We are hoping to make sure that it works better this year moving forward. We have also the issue of sponsorship in our TVET, and that one is working on very well. God willing, with the current data that we have taken, because my people were just moving around collecting data, now we have it sorted well, and everybody get a fair chance for education. On top of that, of course, representation also is key in the National Assembly. So we'll have a vocal year where we speak about our issues and problems, our empowerment of young people, our farmers, and every person that needs a voice in the National Assembly. So our book is full, our desk is full for matters that we are going to be handling this year. And Mungu atujalie, tutaendelea form ni kujituma. Yes.
Right, asante sana mheshimiwa for your time. Right there was Manyata Member of Parliament Gitonga Mukunji. Thank you so much for watching these videos.